it's equal to almost zero. He's not going to be able to deport anybody. However, what he has done is that he has given a platform, he has given a voice to the extreme masses who see non-white to the American system. His presidency, he needs this election to be more to go out and be harmful to the system. Yeah. But as for he cannot do it. He can only deport illegal immigrants, but not people who are legal or those who are permanent residents or citizens. He cannot do it.
Now, let's talk about the issue of gun control. We know that so many African Americans have been killed by the police and even by other Americans on the streets. Now, which of the two candidates do you think can enforce stricter gun control laws if they get into the White House?
Well, of course, going by the platform of the two political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, it will be more Hillary Clinton, do more in it, and maybe expand laws in contrast to Trump. The interesting thing about Donald Trump is that from his background, a little bit more for a while, and then suddenly he put the extra fact will be the one that will more likely enforce the law on gun control.
Well, we'd like to thank you very much, Professor Austin Okigbo, for those perspectives offered as far as the United States presidential election and, of course, the events and developments in the United States are concerned. Thank you so much, Professor Austin Okigbo. Well, back to our studios now. We're still awaiting the results. That's what's on the mind of everyone. The whole world is watching with bated breath as the United States make a decision on who will be leading the most powerful country on earth, probably in the next 4 years. But earlier in the day, our correspondent, Ayotunde Balogun, who has been covering the elections in Washington, D.C., did say that voting kicked off as early as 6 a.m. Eastern. Well, of course, it's coming to an end, but then we'll be rejoining Ayo to find out, how it has proceeded up till this moment.
November the 8th is a day that will certainly go down in history as American voters finally decide who becomes the next president of the United States in this historic election. At 2 polling stations visited in Virginia and in downtown Washington, D.C., voters can be seen, some even on long queues, participating in the process, which started in the early hours of the morning, even as many of them head to work. We spoke to some of the voters who already cast their ballots, and they gave their reactions.
Well, it was quick today, the whole process, but there are lots of people, workers, voter workers in there, so they help with the process.
I just voted, and I voted for Hillary Clinton for president, and I voted for her because I believe she's the one that can help unify this country together. The other candidate that's running for president is a person who does not believe in unity, believes in building walls instead of bridges across this country.
I voted for Hillary Clinton simply because I think she's the right person for the job, and I completely trust her 100%.
My big one that I would love to hear any candidate address is food, actually, agriculture and food justice, and just in general social justice. I think we need to move forward.
In spite of the fact that the presidential campaign has been contentious this year, voters say they are aware that their votes will play a big role on who heads to the White House in the end. Expectations are certainly high for these voters, as you can see here, as they are ready to cast their ballot in the U.S. presidential election. Hillary Clinton representing the Democratic Party, and of course her main challenger, Donald Trump, who is representing the Republican Party, are both squaring it at the polls as the nation, the United States of America, wait to decide who will become the next president, the 45th president of the United States. Enthusiasm definitely for these voters here as they are ready to make their voices heard through the ballot box. And when the elections are over, the results will start trickling in. From Washington, D.C., Ayotunde Balogun reporting for Channels Television News.
Well, that was our correspondent, Ayotunde Balogun. Welcome back. It's the live coverage of the United States presidential election in our studios in Channels Television here. And, of course, just before we had Ayo on, it was the African perspective. Well, we're so glad to be joined here in the studio by an attorney at law who has been based in the United States of America. Maybe he'll be giving us a legal perspective. Well, of course, thank you for joining us, Mr. Muyiwa Shobo, US-based legal practitioner, and of course he also has a practice here in Nigeria. And so 2 legal practices spanning both countries. Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. And I hope you have gallons of coffee out there for us.
That will definitely not be a problem.
For the night.
That definitely will not be a problem.
Now, let's start by looking at the personalities of the candidates involved in this election. How would you rate them compared to other U.S. presidential candidates that we've had in the past?
I think, like everyone is saying, for the past 18 months, I mean, we are facing some sort of a historical situation here. First, you have Donald Trump, who's never held any elective position. He wasn't a politician. We know he hasn't run for anything before. A very rich guy, building houses in New York and all over the place. So he's kind of unique in that sense. From every election or every candidate that I have witnessed in all my years in the United States. And of course you have Hillary Clinton, who comes in with 30 years of experience, who's been the Secretary of State, a senator. And so you're facing that situation. And of course, the first potential female president of the most powerful country in the world.
Now, we're going to stop you there now, and we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, well, we're going to be looking at how Donald Trump has been able to go this far in the elections.